Paul Walker died in a car most of us could only dream of, a Porsche Carrera GT.
At these speeds, a fraction of a second it takes to recover from a mistake covers so much distance that you end up in a wall.
Started spinning, and I hit the brakes. I just saw the wall come, and I got off the brakes. And then as soon as there wasn't any wall, I got on the brakes again. Then when I saw more wall, I got off the brakes, and it was kind of like driving on ice still, but it was all right. Looked exciting.
So you're Porsche in 1998, and the FIA and ACO impose new rules that threaten your current dominance in the race scene. Keeping in mind that you were #1 for 7 consecutive years, having twice as many wins in Le Mans as the next biggest manufacturer. Yeah, thankfully enough, your team came up with a suitable design for the new prototype. A turbocharged flat-six engine which was shortly changed to a V10, secretly built by your team in 1992 for the Footwork Formula 1 team, later being shelved because... yeah, turns out they didn't end up using it. What? Until now. And so you begin development on your project car, but a new opportunity arises. An opportunity to make your first SUV with the involvement of Volkswagen and Audi. The SUV in question, the infamous Cayenne. And this was all perfect, as you found an amazing opportunity to show off your new SUV at the upcoming Paris Motor Show. So you scavenged the F1 shelved V10 and put it into an eye-catching sports car to use it as a publicity stunt to increase attention to your up-and-coming SUV, which later turned out to be a major financial success. And with the soaring popularity and orders of your new brought Cayenne, coupled with the interest shown towards the Carrera GT by enthusiasts, you decide to begin production. A way to give back to your die-hard fans by making something so powerful that your very own test driver, Walter Roll, said that the power level it had during testing would be unimaginable for ordinary drivers. But hey, that's besides the point. You're here to give back. You're here to provide to your enthusiasts, your community, and hey, why not make something that will be written down in the history books for the best and worst? And so the first Carrera GT went on sale in the United States on the 31st of January 2004. You planned to produce 1,500 cars, however, due to the changing airbag regulations in the United States, you were forced to stop production in 2006. Yeah, that was short-lived. But the Carrera GT will for sure be remembered as one of the most notorious cars of its era. Sports Car International named the Carrera GT #1 on its list of top sports cars of the 2000s and #8 on top sports cars of all time due to its advanced technology and state-of-the-art chassis, including a pure carbon fiber monocoque and subframe which was completely unheard of at the time, incorporating technology such as dry sump lubrication, which in a nutshell is a process of storing oil in a separate tank away from the engine, reducing friction and viscosity, hence offering better horsepower due to the increased intake of oil. Also offering things such as inboard suspension and electronically operated rear wings that raise into the airstream to reduce lift, which keep in mind was quite unusual for a car back then, showcasing its innovative and daring design. Also including a radiator which was about 5 times the size of that of a 911 Turbo of its time. Yeah, it's a lot for a supercar in the early 2000s. Perhaps too much, as although being prepped with the most innovative tech from its era, the Carrera GT severely lacked in its driver safety aids. Having no electronic stability control meant that the car was unable to make up for mistakes, something Jay Leno learned at the Talladega when he spun the car 5 times attempting to break a record. A similar thing happening with supercar collector Ben Chen when he crashed his Gambala Mirage GT, and the life-ending tragedy of Paul Walker. With that, the car earned itself the nickname Widowmaker, as the car is brutish to drive and highly temperamental, further lacking of basic safety features such as traction control and ABS, making it exceedingly harder to drive, leaving the driver with no margin for error. requiring absolute concentration when driven fast. Even Porsche's very own test driver Walter Roll stated that it was the first car in my life that I drive and I feel scared. With that, the car had also shown a tendency to oversteer during high lateral acceleration, and that Porsche made adjustments without fixing the problem entirely. The response to the missing Porsche stability management? Well, Porsche gave two different reasons for excluding said feature. The first being that it wasn't possible to install the PSM because the chassis design and suspension mountings would make vibrations that would interfere with its operation, and the other reason was that the customers simply didn't want it, requesting a car rid of interfering electronics. This was after a collision at the California Speedway track, which ended up killing the passenger of a Carrera GT. And this, unlike many other accidents, could have been simply explained as to driver error, as the crash at the California Speedway track was because a Ferrari pulled up in front of the Carrera, causing the driver to swerve. Jay Leno lifted before he should have, causing him to spin. Ben Chen was driving the car on a surface riddled with many potholes and imperfections, and was also, which with the car of that power was a bad decision in and of itself. And Paul Walker's death was reportedly caused by old tires that were long due for a tire change, since rubber wears over time, driven or not. Now the question is, could have most of these tragedies been prevented if Porsche implemented PSM? Leave your opinions down below.